Hello and welcome back to another episode of Drunk Game Retellings. As always, I'm your host, Jack. Today, my friend Space Hamster is going to retell the plot of Mass Effect while she's drunk, and then, well, I should clarify, it's the original Mass Effect on the 360, and then we're both going to talk about the kind of the game and the series as a whole, and potentially its future as well, while we're intoxicated. I'll also point out that Space Hamster, she specifically requested me to censor her swearies, the swear words, the naughty words. So I replaced them with kind of Mass Effect inspired little censor beeps. Hopefully they're not too loud, but I think they turned out pretty cool. So without further ado, here is my pal, Space Hamster.
Hey there, this is Space Hamster. We're going to talk about Mass Effect, the original, first one. So you start out and it's really cool that you have, the face generating thing, and it says that you're wrong because you always want to create a new character. Of course, you spend 2 hours on it, and you get in there, and your nose isn't right, so you have to create your character again. But, so you get on the ship, and you're walking through, blasting people out of the way because they're in your way because you're Shepard. And, you go to the front, and you're talking to Seth Green, and, the Mr. Bland peanut butter sandwich, and then you hear that there's Nihilus, that guy with the mandibles, and the tureen, and you go back to talk to Captain Anderson, and you go back to the ship. You realize that they're actually watching you to be a Spectre, which is pretty cool if you're not racist. And so then you see the video, and there's Ashley shooting at people, and it's all chaos and terrible because the Reapers are here, and you don't know them yet, but they're big claw things, and the guy's mandibles move, so you know it's trouble. And so then they send you down to the planet and Eden Prime, and so apparently Nihilus is supposed to watch you and make sure that you're good as a Spectre, but then he just kind of says, no, I'm going to do this on my own, so I'm not actually going to watch you for anything, and he goes off on his own, so you're like, you're a goner. And so you're there on the planet, and you have Leroy Jenkins with you, and your other crew, Mr. Peanut Butter Sandwich, and as you're walking through, of course Jenkins dies, because apparently you're the only one that can get shot with the bullets and not die, because it's your shields and everything. And you go through, and you see the doctor, and you can choose to punch him out. And the woman at first freaks out, but then you're like, no, it could be dangerous. And she's like, well, okay, it's fine, you punch out my friend. And so you go past them, oh yeah, you see the husks and everything, and the beacon's not there, because it's been moved. Oh no! And you see Nihilus get shot and everything by Saren, and you have the really dramatic music, and you're like, this is obviously the bad guy because the dramatic music has shown up. And so you go through, and you go past, and you shoot people, pew pew, and you use your powers, and you get to the terminal, the track, and you go to, and you defuse bombs, because you know how to defuse bombs. Everyone knows how to defuse bombs. And you can do it in under 1 second. Woo! And so you go and defuse those bombs, and you defuse 5 of them. And then you go out onto the porch, and you destroy the beacon because you look at it, because Mr. Peanut Butter Sandwich just looked at it, and so now you're looking at it. And so then it just throws you back and destroys you with weird images. And so you go on the ship, and now you're on the ship, and Captain Anderson, Keith David Badass, comes up and is just like, are you okay? You're fine. We're not gonna, I believe you 100%. By the way, Saren hates humans. And you're like, no, that's not true. He doesn't. And he's like, yes, he does. And that's why. So you have a little argument, and then you go back, and you talk to Kane and basically tell him that he's useless, and then you talk to Ashley, welcome aboard, you racist, and then you go up on the deck, and you go to the Citadel. And it's apparently your first time being on the Citadel despite spending 11 years as a soldier in the Alliance. But, oh well, no shore leave apparently. And so you go on the Citadel, and it's your job to become a Spectre. But first you have to go to Udina, who's apparently a terrible politician for politicians. And to get an alliance with you, and you meet Saren, and he's like, oh, I couldn't find anything on Saren. You meet Garrus, and you can't find anything on Saren. And you go to the council, and you say your spiel, but of course you have no evidence and nothing to suggest that Saren was actually a traitor. And so, of course, the council doesn't believe you, but the game's like, "Grr, they didn't believe you, council's evil, grr." And so you go back and you go to Anderson, and there's two options. You can go to the Barlow Vaughn, the Shadow Broker, who apparently is more legitimate than the ex-cop, but regardless, you go to either one. I always go to both. And you go talk to, I like going to the CSEC guy, Harkin, and you go to him, and he calls you a princess, and then you threaten him with acid and razor blades, and then he tells you that Garrus is off with Dr. Michelle. So you go to Dr. Michelle, and you see Dr. Michelle, she's being ambushed, and then you find out about Tally. And after you find out about Tally, you go to CSEC Academy to pick up Rex, because he's been causing trouble, because he's Rex. And so you pick up Rex, and at Cora's den, you're fighting off people, or you can use Paragon, those guys leave. And and Cora's den, the guys leave. So you meet Fisk, Bisk, or the fuck his name is, and he basically cowers and goes, "Oh, I sent her off to those assassins." And you go up to the assassins, and they basically are flirting with Tally, and she has none of it. "Get your biz out of my biz," and knocks it back. And then you go to Tally back to deliver evidence, and there's like this weird music in there that indicates something important has happened, but it never comes up again. And you go back to see Udina, and he kind of runs his mouth off at you because he's, I don't know, had a long day. And so then apparently, yay, there's Saren's a traitor, but we got these, like, you know, Reaper things we have to worry about, and the conduit, and you're like, what the fuck is that? And nobody cares for some reason. So you go back to the council, and you show them the evidence, and they're like, okay, Saren is a traitor. And you're like, yeah, but Reapers. And they're like, no, that was obviously a ploy to fool the, weak-minded. And you're like, okay, well, that's not right. But guess you're not helping me. So you become a Spectre, and then you do all the other quests. You go sleep with the Asari lady, which is really uncomfortable because she clearly doesn't want to sleep with you. But, oh well. And you help out her with the Septimus and all that jazz. And then you go back on your ship, and now you're a Spectre. And you have some options. Because it's Mass Effect, you want to go get Liara first. Otherwise, she's like, kind of got brain troubles later on because of all the, stuff. And so I always go to Pharos first, either Pharos or Noveria. If you go to Noveria, then it's all the snowy place, and after you pick up Liara. So, I guess backtrack. Picking up Liara at the fiery, molten place with lots of lava, and of course, I go right near the lava so that my crew freaks out, and, poor Garrus is thrown up in the back seat. And going through, you shoot up all that Geth, do that really hard battle with the Krogan, and you leave, run away, and Liara makes some joke about not knowing emotions, despite the fact she's pretty much human besides her being blue. And then you go to Noveria, let's say, and you're going to shoot her mother. I mean, it's not a great day for Liara. So you go to shoot her mother, and apparently she's been really bad and letting Ragnar loose, and they've been causing trouble. And that poor guy, who is like the humane, I love Ragnar with the t-shirt on it with a little heart, guy got killed, skewered by the Ragnar guy. And so you purge all of them and kill them all. Woo! I suppose. And so then, now that you've killed them all, you figure out that Saren is going after the conduit, and I forget what else you learned. But you go to Noveria, you go to Pharos. And Pharos is the place where you get a ton of Paragon points, or Renegade points, depending on whether or not you just kill everyone and not care about what anyone says. So you help lots of people, and they're all going psycho bonkers crazy, and So then you realize that it's some kind of creature called the Thorian everyone's lying to you about, and the Geth are there, and you have to kill those Geth, of course, and you go underneath and you go to the big, giant, greasy, weird tentacle thing, tentacruel, whatever it is, and you go talk to it, and it has mind powers, and it spits out an Asari thing, and so you fight her, and you run through and fight all these other creatures, and after you fight everything, and it's really hard because there are all these husks there, and you fight all of them, but they're like everywhere, and that sorry lady keeps throwing the warp thing at you, so you keep bending in half, but somehow are still okay. And from there, you go to the council, because you can contact them and everything, and then you can just not contact them anymore, and which I do at like the very end of the conversation, so they'll just think that the power internet is cut out, and they won't blame me for that, even though they're jerks. So basically, I don't know why the Turinga hates you. Like, I know it's been a war and everything, but everyone else seems to be perfectly fine, and he still has a grudge, so you should get over it. So anyway, so after you finish Pharaohs, and you finish Novaria, and everything, you learn that Saren has gone to Ilos, I believe. That's the big thing. He's gone to Ilos, and woo! There are other side quests that are really fun. I liked doing the ones with Cerberus and everything, and they're like, give us the information to the secret organization, and you're like, no, I'm noble, or you're like, whatever, probably need this later. Liara's gonna command it anyway. And you get to punch out the reporter. Punching out reporter is always fun. I like how you just start a conversation with her, and then they're just like, oh, you can punch her. And I'm like, well, I just said hi, but okay, punch. And after that, you go to Ilos, and you run through, you ride on your Mako, which I always loved because I would go up the steep mountains and then tumble off and pretend that my companions were just screaming in agony, and I felt really bad for them and realized that I had no driving skills in games, and had a lot of fun with that. So you go to Ilos, and you kill all the Geth there, and you realize you have a few seconds before they reach the Citadel, and so you go through, and you're driving along, and you kill Geth, and you meet Friction, whatever his name is, Fido, I don't remember his name is, the AI guy, and you meet him, and you realize what happened to all the Protheans, and then you go to the Citadel, and you drive through, and once you drive through the Citadel, you go and you see Saren, but he's not actually, I forgot Vermeer. Totally forgot Vermeer. Before all that, you go to Vermeer, and you meet all those Krogan that are going to be, used as soldiers, and you have to choose whether or not to shoot Rex. And so I usually talk him down because I play this game too many times. But if you don't, you shoot him, you kill him, boo-hoo, and poor Rex, and then you meet Saren there, and you do this very dramatic punching thing, and he just, sort of grabs you by the throat and doesn't kill you for some reason. And then you sacrifice one of your teammates, either Peanut Butter Jelly Man or Tough Soldier Girl. So I always kind of choose Tough Soldier Girl, unless I'm trying to romance Peanut Butter Boy. But then you go to... anyway, so you're on Ilos, and you've chosen who you've chosen. Life goes on. Everyone wants to fuck you, and that's how that is. And so then you go to Ilos, you land on the Citadel back again. You have to claw your way through, and I thought that was the coolest part of the game because you're, reprogramming the guns, and you're shooting the things, and I just like to use my biotics. I throw people into the air so they go flying, and then you go all the way to the top of the Citadel where the council meets, and the tower, and there's alarm bells going on, and it was a really cool part, and you tell Saren basically that he doesn't have to die, and he's like, yeah, I guess not, shoots. And that's it for him, except he's been taken over by squishy red lights. And so the squishy red lights turn him into a monster, you fight the monster, and you decide whether or not to let the council live or become a totally racist council where it's just one race, which makes no sense. And then of course, they find you under the rubble, and you appoint Anderson or Udina as counselor. And Udina's best choice because he's the politician, knows what he's doing. Anderson is the soldier, more advisor guy. But regardless of what you choose, it doesn't matter because Anderson just becomes back to the soldier again. So anyway, so yeah, the game ends with you either Paragon or Renegade focused, and all your teammates are happy, and the person you're screwing is happy, and everybody's good.
And welcome back to, oh god, I accidentally hit the door there. Oh dear. But we're leaving that in because this is a more live action. This is the first time in a little while where I've had a guest with me at my place, and it's always cool. But I think I've figured out podcasting now, so things sound a little better. So yay for me. I have with me my pal Space Hamster, the hamster from space.
Squeak.
Squeak indeed, and very fitting that I have Space Hamster here because we're talking about a game that was mostly in space. You're in space a lot.
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah, mostly in space. We're talking about the original Mass Effect, which originally was I think it was a 360 and PC. It was only those. It was a Microsoft exclusive. It was the last BioWare game when they were before they were purchased by EA. So a lot of people have. It's a lot of divisions kind of happen from then on out, but. This is kind of like because for a while they did like some games with Microsoft. I feel like there was they did one game that's like you're like a martial arts person or
Jade Empire.
That
was awesome.
Yeah, Jade Empire was I think that was another Xbox exclusive.
Yeah, well no, that was an Xbox One. I mean not Xbox One. Regular Xbox.
Yeah, that was regular Xbox. That was still like Xbox
yeah.
like. I think they did. Maybe they just had like some contract when they just did some stuff with Microsoft. Mm-hmm. I think what was happening is that maybe Microsoft wanted them to be their exclusive dev, and then maybe they were. I'm not remembering, but then I think before they could, EA was like yoink.
Yeah.
So, but ever since, like they've just been part of EA Force. It's weird now because it just seems like second knowledge now that it's like BioWare is EA, of course, but back then wasn't the case. But. Enough about basic facts. Let's talk about you, Space Hamster, and the Mass Effects. So, when did you first hear about Mass Effect as a series?
So I was over at a friend's house, and he was playing it, and he was not really enthused with it at first. He just chose the regular Shepard, but as I watched him go through it, and I was like, this is really cool, but I'm scared of aliens. And I don't really because the only alien thing I ever heard of was Alien, the film and everything.
Oh no.
So I was like, I don't know about this. So I asked another friend of mine, and she was like, well, it's not scary, don't worry about it. And I remember watching Shepard, I think she was going across a hot planet of some kind. There was like nothing there. It was just like running across it, and I'm just like, okay, I'll try it. So I tried the second one because I was an idiot and knew nothing about what was going on. And because I thought it was prettier, so I tried that one. And then I was like, okay, I need the first one. So I bought the first one, and I played 20 playthroughs fully of it. And,
wow.
Yeah, and the rest of the games too. It's just probably 15 playthroughs per game, I would say. 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm. You're based on that, I can assume you like the series.
I do.
You
it
do like
changed my life.
Yeah, I can imagine like actually just average.
Yeah.
I just want
something to do.
Yeah, I was bored. That's the only game I ever had. So, just before we get more just to Mass Effect in general, like at least that specific game, would you say is your favorite of the three main ones so far?
My favorite would probably be the first one, just because it has the best story.
Yeah.
I love stories, and I love this one in particular, just because it takes a person against the rest of the world and just sort of has them.
Yeah.
But it's in a way that is not too focused on just having, like, more dramatic that person against the world. It's more just like you're growing to be that person.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, the third one was kind of like you have to be that person. But it was forced. It didn't seem like you just naturally fell into that position. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. The first one's actually my favorite too. I won't go too much into two. I mean, we can kind of talk about the franchise as a whole maybe towards the end, but
True.
I feel like one is really where things really hit it right in terms of its plot, in terms of kind of setting up the world, which can be really hard to do, especially for something as huge and expansive as like go to all these different planets, like all this political intrigue.
It was just so much effort and love was put into that first one, and it was like so clear, and you know that so much time was just taken into it.
Yeah.
That the other ones just didn't seem as loved as the first in a different way. If that makes any sense.
No, I understand that. Yeah. So going through your first time playing through the original Mass Effect, what type of playing style? Because some people there's two essential main ways to play. You're either the Paragon or the Renegade. What kind of form of play style more suits you?
Paragon, just because I don't like being mean to people, so I play Paragon because they're just, I don't know, I feel bad. If I'm a person that is nice in a game, it makes me a better person. If I'm a person that is mean in a game, it kind of makes me a bit more agitated in real life, so I have to balance it out with Paragon, Renegade, or something charming and happy.
Right.
Does that make any sense? Like, games don't make you violent, it's just that because I'm making decisions in this game that are more aggressive, it would make me a more, like...
It's kind of feeding off of you.
Especially since it's such a creating story and putting yourself sort of in there in terms of the character, that it sort of is more like your personality is adapted to the game.
Now, do you personally kind of are you okay with the idea of them choosing the Paragon Renegade style in terms of their choice system? Or because I know you've played the Witcher series a lot. That's a series known for more of its kind of gray moral decisions. Would you have wished for Mass Effect to kind of take that tone?
Yeah, I kind of do. I mean, because especially with like Dragon Age 1, you could craft more of a character because your responses are so different. And with Witcher, I always play it with Geralt being like the books. Because I love the book so much, so I'm sort of stuck in that rut. But with Mass Effect, it kind of got boring after like the 14th playthrough of being either Paragon or Renegade. I was like, I could quote you by now. It's not as fun.
It's like you're really getting like two versions of the game. You're not really able to expand that.
Exactly. Yeah.
But of those, you're still able to enjoy its world.
Yeah,
and stuff.
absolutely. Yeah.
So just off the top of your head, I just want to ask, who's your if we can talk about like the expanded part later, but like from based on the first game, who's your favorite crewmate?
Garrus.
Garrus.
Based on the first, based on the second, based on the third, Garrus. Yeah, I mean, he's just in the first one. He's kind of like a puppy. He doesn't really know what to do, and you kind of show him one way or the other. And then, you know, in the second game he becomes a badass, but he's always your friend no matter what. And I feel like the other characters are kind of just, you know, I think that if he wasn't in the second game, that would make a difference. Or if he wasn't in the third. But the fact he's in all three games influences...
It's hard to separate, like, what... Because I feel like of all of the returning characters that are an active part of your crew, Garrus really has grown the most.
Exactly.
At least grown in a more interesting manner. Like, there are characters that are sort of back... I mean, Tali is in all three. Be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of Tali. I know there are people who are like... Man, I want to know what's in her mask and stuff. But that's that's really all people talk about.
It's kind of insulting if you think about it. It's like, I wonder what's behind your mask, and you know, it's like kind of invasive.
I want to smooch you. I want to know if I could smooch her or not. Oh yeah. I will say I always did like Rex. Rex is one of those characters who maybe in real life you wouldn't like him that much, but at least in that game he's like he was always trying to be like kind of like a more intelligent Hulk.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like there's like it's like the Krogans are all like these race of you're right. You spill.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, hamster spill a little beer.
Hamster spills her beer.
You're good though.
Okay.
That's
all right.
The Krogans are like a neat little race of these like warrior but still going extinct because they're like they're having trouble getting laid.
Well, they're not having trouble getting laid. It's just making the babies after they're getting laid.
Well, I mean,
you know?
that's still a part of it.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's
so,
like
but...
it's like there's a specific thing to try and do. It's just not working out.
Yeah, I like how though they put the different morals for you for the different characters. Like with the second game, I remember playing it. I think the first or second time.
Yeah.
I was kind of aligning with what I wanted to do with what the characters did. So, for example, with like Morden, he was talking about that the what was it called?
The genophage?
The genophage, yeah.
Yeah.
He was saying that the genophage was a good idea, and he explained it in very logical ways. And I was like, my totally influential mind was like, yeah, of course, that works. And we were talking to my sister about it and being like, yeah, this is a good thing. And she's like, are you kidding me? are you crazy? And so it it kind of, you have to, the characters are not like completely lifelike, but because they have opinions of their own.
Oh yeah.
It's not like it's like a main plot. This is what we want you to think. It's just like this is what the character thinks.
There's actually political depth behind them.
Yeah.
Like it's not just like I racist. I hate. I want war. I want Krogan die now.
Like even Ashley. I mean, a lot of people say that she's racist, but it's 20 years ago the war started. And it's just like a war against a race that you've never even known about. Like if aliens suddenly attacked us, we would think of them as threats. And I know the war stopped 20 years after, but there's still that undercurrent of uncomfortableness with a completely different unknown that you see in Ashley, and I think that's really interesting that you can either have her develop that or
I feel like of like the two humans you can sacrifice, I think Ashley has a bit more of an interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
Caden is there.
It's kind of weird to sacrifice him because he's not. Ashley's got that self-sacrifice going.
Yeah.
She's got, like, something to prove.
She's trying to live up, like, redeem her family.
It's like, I guess I'm fucked. I'm sorry.
Caden's like...
you don't like me.
It's like, I'm sorry. The grinders didn't like me that much.
Nobody really likes me.
I mean, to be fair, he's better than, like, Leroy Jenkins. Like,
yeah.
I forgot they did that.
Yeah.
2008 was a weird time. I guess that was when WoW was still, like, around, and it's like, oh, remember that meme?
Do you know if they named him Jenkins because of that?
I think they did.
Oh,
I'm
really?
pretty sure
That's
that...
really funny.
No, I'm pretty sure they did. So it's like, I think at that time, everyone was like, yeah, I get it, pretty funny, but it's like, I bet if BioWare were to re-release, like, these games on the PS4, I think if people were to see that, it'd go, really? It's like, why not just call him that boy?
That boy.
Just like, who's dead boy? Oh shit, what up? I'm dead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love how, like, you get shot with, like, 1,000,000 bullets and you're freaking fine. And even Caden gets shot with stuff and he's okay. But, like, why can everybody else get down and they're okay? But, like, Leroy, you don't even spend the time to frickin' give him a Metagel. Like, you just walk over him and is like, forget the body, bring the cannoli, and walk past him. Like,
yeah, that's kind of the issue sometimes with, like, with the game logic and the real and the story logic sometimes, where it's, as far as, especially healing, I won't mention Mass Effect 2, but it's like, I mean, you've probably heard me talk about many times, like, my low grips with, like, kind of the start.
Not the Metagel.
Not the Metagel, I'm just, like, the resurrection.
No, I haven't heard about the Metagel, like, what your arguments for it.
Like, at least, like, healing, I mean, just, like, in the first game, like, healing-wise, I think, like, there are, like, ones like Leroy Jenkins where you can actually try to, like, heal him. Like, if you have, like, because you've been shot, like, so many times, like, in gameplay, you just get some Metagel and you're, like, fine.
Yeah.
Like, I think Leroy Jenkins could have lived, but...
Right? Like, it's
like,
not fair.
They only let him die because that's part of the joke. Like, he's just it's kind of sad, he's the pure joke character, like, his whole existence is to reenact the meme in a space drama.
And it's really sad, like, I think you can't remove his helmet. You can't remove his helmet. Everybody else, you remove their helmets, but if you try to remove Leroy's, you can't. So it's just, you're like, okay, I know you're not gonna make it, because now you're different than all the rest of us. Just sad.
That's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
kind of going off from kind of those mechanics, just talk a little bit more about that. What are your thoughts on like when you were actually like playing like the original Mass Effect?
I got used to it. I would say that the games got progressively better in terms of gaming, in terms of physically playing it and having it be smoother. I think it got progressively better.
Do you think that like its actual like combat wise and how you travel, do you think that immersed you more into the world, or like over time, like with like 2 and 3 compared to 1, or do you feel like it only made it more entertaining but not necessarily more immersive?
That's a good point. I think that, I mean, I'm not usually into shooters,
right?
But I think that it was more entertaining, not immersive. Because it just seems more like, okay, like let's get into position and let's fight the Geth, but I mean that's part of the thing about video games too, when you have cutscenes and story, and then you have we gotta get into it and play it. It's a different thing with like Skyrim. Like your playing is immersive rather than it's entertaining. You know?
Yeah.
Like this one, it is more entertaining yet not immersive. And I think Bethesda does a good job with combining both of those, because it's seamless transition between I'm talking to you and I'm fighting this guy right here.
Because because I remember, because there are a couple like common complaints with the original Mass Effect that I feel like if improved could have made it more immersive. Like the obvious one is the actual like inventory system.
Oh my god,
is bonkers.
Oh my god,
it's like
I spent like 8 hours selling this poor asshole on my ship like 80 things, and he's like, Shepard, go to a citadel. I don't have space on our ship to take all your stuff.
I remember there was one playthrough of the original Mass Effect where I forgot to add in like the special bullets to like make sure the people in that one colony wouldn't like they were all crazy, so you had to shoot.
You didn't? Oh, I did that too. I think I did that too. I forgot to add in the grenades.
Like,
the anti-thorian gas, I think it's called.
Yeah, it was a thorian something gas. Yeah, for over there, and it's like, oops. And I had to load my save. I was like, what?
They're like exploding people. Why are they dying? Stop dying.
And there was one where it's just like, there's one time I actually did that, but I would miss. So it's like, oh wait, there was one limited?
Yeah, then I was like, I could punch people in the face and have the same effect, so I just went around punching everybody.
I should have done that.
Yeah, you should try it.
It's because it's like, I think 1 or 2 people died, but I was still treated as Paragon for the most part. Because it was like, I think they accidentally killed themselves.
Yeah.
It was just kind of weird. I was like, oh, okay.
I think Renegade Shepard is more fun in terms of craziness. I think that Paragon Shepard is more game immersive. For me, at least.
Yeah.
Because it seems like Renegade Shepard's just like, I don't know.
Because I feel like in a better world, if they kept that system and went like, okay, maybe we can make it more like engaging to customize depending on where you go.
Yeah.
Like maybe, this world has like much more Earth-like atmosphere. Maybe a less intensive helmet would be just fine. And then maybe for a different one, this is the hellscape, literal hell, like you need to wear special gear.
Yes, exactly.
It's like in Zelda too.
Because like especially when they're on Earth, like you see in Mass Effect 3 with like the aliens on Earth, and there's no helmet, there's no nothing. I'm like, no way could they breathe the same oxygen.
Yeah, no.
Like what the. Why? They're in a completely different environment, completely different atmosphere, completely different, I think
I'm sure there's some codec that's just like, they wear special little balls in their neck that let them, something. That's the other thing that sometimes gets me. Like, I like reading like codec things sometimes, but I'm not always the fan. But they're just meant to like bullshit away.
Yeah.
Like there could have been like you could have done something cool, but then you just went, no, let's do a bullshit codec.
Yeah.
It's like that would. But then the other thing, of course, is the divisive Mako, which
I love the Mako.
I love it too,
and I just loved being on the edge of a mountain and slowly sinking and being like, "Well, guys,
I actually loved how janky it was. Like that honestly felt like a real spacecraft. Like there's no way it would work.
Right, and like my poor crew. There was this one time where we were driving and we landed. We fell off the mountain. I kind of jumped. We fell off the mountain and landed right in between 2 like pillars. So the Mako was lodged in between the 2.
Yeah.
And then a huge, what do they call it? The thing on all fours, the gladiator, whatever. It came right up next to me and started hammering my Mako. And so I was like going back and forth and back and forth. And before it destroyed it, I managed to get out and kill it. And it was like the most amazing thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
I was like,
I was just sad when they got rid of it in 2. I was just like, it was really
That's
neat being
ridiculous.
able to like explore planets like that.
Yeah.
Even if they weren't necessarily like main story plans, like being able to go on the moon and like
Mhm.
drive and go like, oh,
Yeah.
there's the Earth, or you go to one of the, I think it was, I think there was like a Cerberus mission there. That's the other thing I found funny with the first game and like leading up to like two is how
Mhm.
Cerberus in like the first game is like a company of jackasses
Yeah.
where
They just experiment on everything.
it's like Resident Evil's like Umbrella Corporation,
Yes.
where they're evil. But it's like, yes, I shall make a virus that makes people into zombies, and they outgrow extra eyeballs, and they fly. And it's like, why? It's like, oh,
For the fun of it.
we're
Like, I love
evil.
how, yeah, like, the elusive man is just like, yeah, I'm doing this for the preservation of humanity. Is that why you're experimenting on arachnid babies? Maybe.
Because it's like it was so weird into like seeing them as like, weren't you guys the fuck ups who couldn't do anything right?
Yeah.
Like the whole game, where'd you come from?
Or I feel like in Mass Effect 2, the elusive man never asked you like, oh, by the way, it's okay that you like slaughtered all of my people and destroyed all of my bases. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, like that's the other thing I feel like in that I don't know if moral choices are still really that big of a thing in video games still, but like there was at that time it was huge. And
Yeah.
it always feels kind of weird seeing those in those games because you murdered like 1 billion people all the way to like,
Yeah.
oh, but will you kill this person?
Yeah, right? Like, I kill mercenaries all the time, and then one guy dies, and they're like, oh no, Shepard, minus 20 Paragon. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's
what the
like
hell?
I don't trust you that much anymore.
Right? I'm like, I just slaughtered 1 million people. Leave me alone.
It's like really though, like I don't know.
Yeah.
So I feel like hopefully, I guess we can maybe talk about this now. Like Andromeda is a game that is in conception as a Mass Effect. It's a whole new era potentially. What I know we've talked about it a couple of times. Like what we hope it's not a Manifest Destiny game.
Yeah.
Like there's like hints that might be it. I hope it's not.
I mean, excuse me. Even if it is, like, regardless, I would still get it. Because it is BioWare, and I am hooked into BioWare, and I love them so much. So I would definitely just get it anyway. But apparently, Riker? Nope, that's the wrong one. Ripley? Nope.
Who are you thinking? Who are you trying to think
main
of?
character of Andromeda, Riley.
Riley.
Yes. Apparently, if you choose like the girl, the other guy is your brother, and if you choose the boy, the other person's your sister. Which is really cool, I think, because it takes on the Assassin's Creed Syndicate feel of the brother and sister working together.
Or like Dishonored 2.
Yeah.
Or, I feel like maybe that's where things are going lately, where it's less.
The character is part of the game.
Yeah, it's less like jumble A or B. It could be just like, oh, this person exists too. It's kind of, or like Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah, in some aspects. Yeah. What would you like to see in Andromeda? Like, kind of talking about the things we've liked from Mass Effect 1, things maybe not so great.
Definitely exploration. I think that there's such a potential for exploration when you've got millions of planets to look at and choose from and explore. And I think that it's just depressing that the other two games have not been able to explore planets. Because there's such a great, like, draw for that. For people to want to explore. And not just be a explore, build, crafting thing, but an explore, fight, and like actual have missions thing. Like,
that's right.
Like Skyrim. I think there's such a great potential for it, and it'd be stupid if if the BioWare people didn't decide to improve that for Andromeda.
I think they might. I mean, based on like the little thing they showed in the PS4 Pro conference, they show like you being able to like scan like a plant, for example, and like.
Oh, good.
It's like I don't know if you're just on this one planet the whole time, or if you're.
Better not be. I'd be so sad.
That'd be like the Dragon
really?
Age. That'd be the Dragon Age 2 of Mass Effect games.
See, I love Dragon Age 2 because of the characters, and I think I just kind of it just became you were
able to accept it was one place.
Yeah, and I just was like, okay, because I didn't know the hype of Dragon Age 2, because I think I played Dragon Age way past when everybody else had played it, so I didn't know the hype of Dragon Age 2. But once I played both games, I understood the difference between 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like the difference between Mass Effect 1 and 2, where it was like so much love and devotion had been put into creating a whole world for Mass Effect 1. And then Mass Effect 2 was kind of like, okay, here's this very small space you fight in. You fight, you talk, you fight, you talk. And it was just really annoying. Rather, the other one was just like, you fight, you talk, explore, it's all part of the same world.
Yeah. it'd be nice if Andromeda kind of took things like that, because since it's a new start, it'd be great if the first game of its kind of new saga were to try to kind of take things back, really, not necessarily like, oh, we got to add in the right guns.
Yeah, I mean,
like, just like maybe think more about like what's exploring the concept of we're on a new planet, like the aspects of like there's the morality aspects, like I know we're trying to live, but like, is it right? Like what we're doing
I mean, and
here.
they can do it where you have a sort of, if you want to colonize a planet or you want to be part of a planet, you can be part of it, or you can take it over. I mean, there should be that option where you can be violent and ruthless and just say, no, my race is here, or you can be more compassionate.
I would just like
together.
if like there was like options in the sense that you could actually understand it and not just be I am Dick. I am asshole. I am here to be.
There's another thing that really irritated me about those other games is because when you were an asshole, like it adds up your Paragon points. I mean, adds up your Renegade so that you were just an asshole. Like you can't do an asshole move if you're not like fully asshole. You can't make a final move. You know, if you're not fully Paragon, you can't make a final move, and it's really irritating to me. Because people are complicated. They're not just.
It's not just
red.
blue or red. It'd be nice if they kind of like. Not, I wouldn't say it's just like Witcher's done this. I'd say like the early Fallouts too have tried to like kind of, especially like 1 and 2 are really we're pushing the idea of like things are more complicated than they seem. Everyone has reasons for why they do things. It's not like one-off character who picks their nose and going on. Oh kill all them aliens.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like games have reached that point where it's like I'm ready for something a little different. Like I'm not. It's not 2009. It's not the latter 2000s anymore. Like I'm ready for something else.
Because I mean, can't you still involve more dialogue options and more paths without sacrificing time or something? Can you? I mean, Dragon Age 1 did it really well, and I feel like they could just include that for future games. Why is that so much of a problem? That
especially because it's like they did a lot of that for like the what's that Star Wars MMO they did? Because they've like
KOTOR.
Yeah, KOTOR.
Knights of the Old Republic.
Or no, not KOTOR. They did like their MMO, like based
Star
on
Wars,
the Old Republic. I
the
think
Old
that's
Republic.
it. The Old Republic like made so much effort to like make everything like voiced, and they had like. Apparently, the multitudes of like options. Like it doesn't necessarily mean like if they have to animate like billions of things, but it's like I feel like just
more than 2.
It's like more than 2 would be.
3.
It's like having like the option of more than blue and red.
Yeah.
Like just maybe just removing that entirely would just I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
Like I know people are like, oh, but isn't that what Mass Effect is? Like, I don't think so. I don't think it has to be. I think Mass Effect can be more than that. Like, I mean, even though I'm not interested, like, I mean, look at the new God of War. Like, they're trying to, like, go away from, like, have you seen the new God?
No, I haven't.
The new God of War is weird because what it is, it's like Kratos many years later. He's a beard. He's like a daddy.
Of course he has a beard.
He's a beard and he's a
daddy.
daddy.
It's like Witcher. It's like Geralt. It's like add a beard to Geralt, and now he's like
now
6,000 because he's 80 in the books.
Anyway. Yeah, so Kratos is a daddy now. He's got a boy, and he's like trying to teach him to know how to live and hunt, and he's trying not to be as violent anymore. And there's no like kill counter. Like, it's like I feel like there's a chance here where you could maybe acknowledge a past of something, but take that chance to go. Okay, Andromeda, this is our new frontier. We're in a new galaxy. What can we do to maybe respect kind of the older aspects, but go, like, maybe take it... I just want them to take a chance.
Yeah, that's a great point. I agree completely that there should be something new and different. And especially that people mature and change, you know, and human beings are known for that. You know, we mature and change over time. I don't know about the other aliens, but I do know that human beings are those kinds of people that
Krogan don't.
Krogan don't change. And then you find out that despite the fact you destroyed the disease and everything's good and everything's hunky-dory, everybody went to war and then every other race was destroyed except for humanity.
Yeah.
Like, well, great. Reapers weren't the problem.
I know I asked you your favorite crewmate, but do you have like a favorite like alien race of the Mass Effect that's shown up so far?
I feel like favorite alien race.
Like, do you like the Asari, you like the Solarians, the Krogan?
Because there's a difference between what race I would like want to be if I was a person, and what race that I like the most. I like the I think I like the Drell the most, just with like that very descriptive memory and the very their very lithe way of being. I think it's just very interesting to me how they can just describe everything in a moment, and like their religious aspect is just interesting. But of course, if I were to be a race, I would be Asari. But just because they're just so powerful and like sexy and awesome, and I think that that goes into like women's ideals and things like that. But I think it's just the Drell race is just really cool to me.
Yeah.
They have that combination of just having that very descriptive. Like I love how Thane at one point said something about like, if you're in a really bad time, you can remember something really great and like in detail, like feel that taste and everything, which is really interesting to me.
Yeah.
I think that's just really cool. We'll be great writers. It's like if you just experience something once and you can like, oh, I wonder how this character would feel if he like, I don't know, ate cake at this point. You're like, oh, I know the exact taste of cake. And you can write it down.
Yeah, I think Thane would like hang out with like like all those classic writers. Like
Yes, he would be a romantic poet. I think he would be with Byron and
he'd be
Coleridge, and he'd be hanging out with them and
hanging out with Frost and
exactly, and just like reciting poetry. But yeah, anyway, Mass Effect 1. What did you think about Saren? About his character?
Saren, like, I have mixed feelings on Saren. I think Saren's a little interesting as like your first sort of enemy, because he as at the start he's kind of like, he's in a position that you're dying for, like this like the Spectre role. He's kind of like the golden child Spectre in the sense, and so seeing his kind of like fall is kind of shocking, especially when he kills like his other like fellow Spectre in arms that you were kind of like, hey, you were kind of neat for the first 5 seconds, so
except you didn't do your job. Like, I'm serious though, like he was like, okay, I'm gonna observe you in their missions and so forth, and you're like, okay, and then you go on a really dangerous mission, and he's like, alright, I'm going by myself. I'm not gonna watch what you do during this most dangerous mission, even though that's probably an important thing to watch. But oh well, I'm just gonna go by myself. Bye.
Yeah, but it's like, I guess like, I think looking back, like thinking about it, I think I like Saren.
I do too. Yeah.
It's like I think there are moments where I feel like I should like, Sarah, but it's like, no, I love Saren. I
don't know if I love Saren, but I do like his character.
I just like Saren's voice actor, and I'm just like, I kind of wish though that he wasn't like mind controlled or whatever. I just wish he was just a dick.
He was just a dick.
Because it's like I just wish because at least I would have liked it more if it was just like, oh no, I'm doing this because I want I want us to be spared by the Reapers.
Wouldn't it be interesting if there was no such thing as indoctrination, and if it was just bringing out the dickery in people?
That would be much better, like bringing out the renegade in people.
Right, like if you, like, let's say you went to society and said, okay, by the way, there are these people that are being indoctrinated. It would flood, and people would think, oh, we're being indoctrinated, and the reason why people are acting that way is because they're indoctrinated. And it's just, no, they're just being assholes. And it's just bringing out the asshole people.
But I would have liked that more, because it's like...
It's like, it's not indoctrination, isn't actually...
Because it would have reminded me a lot of...
it's your own
I think it was... Because it's like, there's a character in Half-Life 2, I think his name was Dr. Breen, he's the head of City 7... Did you ever play Half-Life 2?
No, I didn't.
I
watched Gordon Freeman's Mind.
Right.
I watched that.
There's a character in Half-Life 2, he's the leader of this like city that most of the game takes place in, and he's this doctor who's in the same facility you were in. He basically takes this command of like, oh, I'm working with these aliens to preserve human life. This is all for our benefit. We just need to be subservient. I feel like that would have been better if Saren was like that, but whatever.
I mean, at the same time though, I think that I like his undying belief that he is not indoctrinated.
Yeah, I do like that.
It's kind of like, him saying like, I am not indoctrinated. I don't have a problem. It's like, I don't have a problem. And you're like, yes, you do. It's like not listening to anybody else when you have such a strong opinion.
I wouldn't mind that. I just think that would have been just like a nice little alternative, because the other way, like he he just becomes possessed by the alien thing and
Yeah.
fights you. So it's like, it would. I mean, whatever. It's all to kind of set up the Reapers anyway.
Yeah.
Who, I guess we could talk about Sovereign, who's the
Yeah.
talking shippy.
I mean, he's kind of just like the unknown entity that you have to come across. You're just sort of learning about in the first one.
Yeah.
And then they become really real. And the problem with your enemy becoming real is that they are less scary.
Yeah,
You know?
Bodie McBoatface is not.
Bodhi.
Bodie McBoatface is not the greatest. Like, oh no, a ship. Ooh.
Have you seen that video of like the squid and they pretend that he's a reaper and they put like reaper quotes above the little squid?
Yeah.
And it's so cute.
It's like I guess that's the other thing is like, maybe it's just because they like it's like a neat. It seems like a neat twist for me that like a ship design. Oh, it's this giant alien like Cthulhu monster that we're all supposed to be afraid of. But it's like at the same time though, it's like, oh, that's what it is. Really, I don't know. It's like it's not quite as terrifying for me. I know by the end they blew up everything.
Yeah, like in the third game, I think it becomes much more terrifying. The second one's kind of like I mean, the Harbinger is capturing people and turning them into Reapers, which was just kind of weird, less scary, just weird.
Yeah, because the human Reaper was a joke. I was just like, oh no, the googly eyes man is going to try to murder me.
I really like how they transform people into weapons. I think that's just a really interesting concept. Where I appreciate how humans are the mindless, the least dangerous creatures that are thrown at you.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Everybody else is far more dangerous, and people are just like, I mean, just hit this and that.
There's like little floppy things.
We're so weak, and yet we are this like the shepherd's the human that stops everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not about race necessarily, but like it's really interesting how like it's just like the humans are the weakest in terms of the Reaper, but they were the first to be taken over too, which is interesting.
Yeah. I feel like that's. I feel like I'm running out of like things just to talk about just as far as Mass Effect as a whole. Is there any other things you can think you want to like
Romance?
shout? Oh, that we gotta talk about this. How could we forget about
BioWare? Aphrodisiac that's been going around.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot about like what's the other most commonly known thing about Mass Effect is the romance. Who did you romance in Mass Effect 1?
I mean, I've romanced everyone, but in the first one, I started romancing Caden. My character started romancing Caden because he was cute, and then in the second game, I romanced Thane.
Yeah.
And the third game, I had nobody because both were, because I was like, nah, I'm true to Thane.
Yeah.
But I did romance Caden. It was just. I mean, the problem is that it was like at a certain point, you talk to Liara and you're like really nice to her, and suddenly she's like, oh, I want to fuck you. And then you talk to Kate and he's like, oh, are you with Liara? And I was like, I didn't even talk to Liara lately, but didn't hear about that from Liara.
That's the weird thing about the romance in the games is how quick everyone's so horny on the Normandy.
Yes.
Maybe the Normandy's like a horny Reaper. Like it's like it just instead of making everyone like slaves or dicks, like it just makes you really horny.
Yeah.
It's the Reaper that makes you want to fuck.
It's the Reaper.
Like they take like that was the one like Cerberus. They made sure they built their own like horny Reapers. Like it's like here's Normandy 2.0. We have an engine that makes everyone horny, even the robot, even the AI is horny.
I feel like it was just one Reaper that just started a program and was experimenting with it, and was Frank was just experimenting with this program that was just like, oh, let's just make everybody horny, and then just sent it to all his peers, and it just continued on, and he had no way to stop it.
It's like I get the humor in that. Like, it's like, but I do wish that you could just be friends with people.
Yes.
Because it is kind of
friendship mode.
Yeah, because it's like it is kind of weird to have like your boss like hit on you, and that's because it's like, oh, everyone's just okay with that. Like it. Yeah.
So have you ever played like Saints Row 4?
I never actually played that one.
It's really fun. But at one point, there's Keith David in there, and I keep trying to romance him, and he keeps saying, no, you're my boss, that would make me uncomfortable. And I think it's a reference to Mass Effect. But there's a lot of references to Mass Effect in there. But basically, I mean, that's the same premise, though. Like, it's your boss. Like, if
Yeah, it's like
exactly
if it's
like,
like
you're
if yeah.
you're like, no man.
It's
you
like in
leave me
any
alone.
situation, if your boss was like trying to hit on you, it wouldn't be
Yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah, let me tell you
Yeah.
all about my life, and okay, yeah.
It's like
we'll
I don't.
see.
It's like I don't care how hot you are. It's like it's still kind of weird.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
agreed.
like it's like well, you're attractive. That's nice, but
Can I ask, is Shepard getting paid?
I,
Do I have a salary?
I guess that's the other thing. It's just like, do you? I was at first was like,
I
do you get paid to have sex with?
freaking bucks for what I'm doing here.
Yeah, it's like I pay you to have sex with all of your crewmates.
Like, I mean, half the time you're just screwing around and helping random
Literally
people,
and
but you're getting
figuratively.
paid for that? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Do I ever get a pay raise? Do you get like $1 million by the third game because you're like the hero? Do you get like?
Well, I mean, no, I think all the money you
raise?
generated helped fund your resurrection when you became Jesus.
It's what the elusive man didn't tell you. Is
Yeah.
that all the money is actually
'Cause-
from your salary.
Yeah, it's all from your salary. It's like, you kidding me? We don't have money. I mean, we made people into like green goop monsters for like the first game. You kidding me? Do you think that makes money? No, because when we were trying to sell them, someone kept killing them. Oh wait, that was you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like doesn't quite work out. Oh, poor Cerberus didn't work out for him in the end.
No, it was really weird too because everybody was really mad at me in the second game, because I thought, excuse me,
It was tight.
thank you, in the second game, because like I was supportive of Elusive Man at the very end for taking the base because I was like, well, we should learn more about our enemy, right? And so I was like, all right, here, Elusive Man, here's our base. I go back home, and everyone's like, you should not have done that, except for one person. I think Thane was like, meh, I don't care. And everybody else was like, don't do it. And I'm like, well, that's fucking great, because I did it. And it didn't really matter in the third game, but,
Yeah, because now he just goes evil anyway.
Yeah, and it's also weird that you don't contact Thane within the 6 months that you're there. It just really, that part really bugs me.
Yeah.
But anyway, in the first game,
was there any DLC from the first game?
yeah, there was Bring Down the Sky.
That's
and
right.
There was a station. There was some kind of station.
Because it's like maybe it's just like how games had changed since then. Because it's like from 2 on, they like a fuckload of DLC.
Which I bought all of.
Especially even like with like what's technically the real ending of 2 is DLC, which I think that's what pissed me off the most. I think that's what is like
the real ending from 3.
Yeah, because it's like that's the only way you know how 3 starts is by it's like I don't mind like I think some things like I don't need to know everything before like a sequel to something like I don't need to know like what happened that week before that leads to this.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Yeah, it's like I don't necessarily need to know that, but it's like I feel like that DLC they did for 2 is like clearly the ending that leads towards like 3 because like 2 because
Arrival.
Yeah, I think that was Arrival because that's when you blew up like the planet.
That's Arrival, and I mean it was really annoying since Anderson sent you on that mission anyway, and he kind of was just like put all the blame on you. And I'm like, well, that's not really fair. It's your kind of fault for asking me to go rescue this random woman alone. And suddenly she turns out to be Reaper indoctrinated, of course, because no one can be normal around Shepard.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I mean, it's really
It's
annoying.
just, because that's, maybe, I just feel like I was kind of spoiled by, because 1 at least gave me like there's at least an ending to that where it's like, where it's like, it pulls the Star Trek, where it's like, we're gonna go where no man has gone before. Which I guess is kind of weird. It's just like the first game is essentially very much a Star Trek, and then 2 and 3 take like a very different direction.
They take a more artistic, pretentious turn, and I will
mean,
say that it's more about getting the money rather than the story. And I think the first one is more about telling a story, which is why it is so good. And I think that's the problem with when you have to produce a game so quickly is because you are forced to do something that will gain you money.
Yeah, you gotta sacrifice kind of the elements that...
Same thing with books, too. Same thing with movies. You are forced, because if something's popular, you want to pop it out fast.
Yeah.
So it is really tough. And so I feel for BioWare, but it's really a tough call to be like, how long do we spend on this? What should we focus on? Because now we have a huge fan base instead of a fan base that was used to our RPGs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now you have the shooters coming in, because of that.
I have hopes for Andromeda because it's like, did Mass Effect 3 come out in 2013 or 12?
I think it was 2012.
So it's like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It'd be like 5 years then.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
Except the lead writer and designer are gone, which is.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not necessarily worrying me because that was for Mass Effect 3.
Yeah. So it's like
new
okay,
blood coming
yeah,
in,
it's
giving
like
us new
hopefully.
perspective.
But now that we thankfully covered romance, like that would have been terrible if we did this and not mention like, well, you didn't mention all the fucking.
Yeah, there's that. Okay, so there's romance, there's story. Let's see.
I mean, is there really anything else we can think? I mean,
Any side quests that stood out to you?
I mean, there's the reporter part. So you kind of talked about that already.
Yeah, that you punch the reporter, which I mean, it really does bother me because like in the first sentence, she's like, "Hi, Shepard, how was your day?" And you're like, "Okay, punch." I'm like, "What the? Why would you just punch the reporter? Like that makes no sense."
Yeah. And I guess we also talked about the Cerberus parts too.
Yeah.
At that time when they were just
Mm-hmm.
rando Umbrella Corp in space.
Yeah, and Ferris was good.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good game. I think that it's a good, solid game. There's some problems with it, but it's a good game.
I think that if they were to, I know they'll probably release like a trilogy someday.
Mm-hmm.
I know they originally claimed they would, and then they're like, "Nah, just kidding. It's Andromeda." Haha.
Well, I mean, they had the trilogy, and they were like, "Okay, here's like another game that's related to the first one."
Yeah, it's like I
Andromeda.
wouldn't mind like having like the first game available on PS4 to like be able to experience again.
They do have, at least I know I have an Xbox One, and they do have for Xbox One. They do have a version you can play Mass Effect 1.
Yeah.
But the problem is they don't have Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3. So the point of saving your character and moving him on, you can't do. So I'm like, I don't want to play it because I want to move my character forward.
Yeah, that's kind of the difficulty. Oh well.
Oh well.
But and I can't think of anything else to mention. So Space Hamster, do you have anything you want to plug?
I mean, I could talk about Mass Effect all day, but I think that it's just I'm totally supportive of BioWare. I think that it's such a tough job once you get popular and once you have so many different views wanting so many different things.
Yeah, I understand
especially
that.
since you have a ton of shooter people who are like, we want to see more guns, and other people are like, we want to see more stories. You can't go all the directions. So I think that they're doing the best they can. And I have nothing to plug. I'm not on YouTube or anything like that. But I do, support BioWare in general. And they're like my favorite game developers, and I buy what they make because they're just great storytellers and great people. So kudos to them, and fun games, crazy games. Have lots of cool memories with those. So keep making them.
Okay, so yeah, follow at Bethesda.
At Bethesda.
That's BioWare's account. Trust me, just kind of close your eyes and go to at Bethesda.com, buy their games. That's totally where BioWare is.
Yeah.
That's their latest game. Is it Mass Effect 10?
So
the
what
Elder
was new
Scrolls.
about Andromeda?
What?
What was new about Andromeda? Because I haven't seen that video from PS.
Oh, I'll show you after this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But as far as for my side viewers, as you know, you can follow me at HendrixTrog on Twitter. Just to kind of give a little heads up, there'll essentially be one more episode after this, and this will be the end of what I call the first season of our show, Drunken Retellings. But stay tuned for maybe something else about a certain magic school bus. Interesting. I don't know what that's about, but could be of interest to you. So Space Hamster. Oh, do you have anything else?
Oh, I just want to say thank you for having me on your podcast.
I was about to say
appreciate
thank
it.
you for being on here. It's always fun actually have someone like right next to me because I always worry about Skype, like, oh god, it's gonna crash and I have nothing. So it's like
won't crash.
Yeah. So thank you, and then with that we will have our music cue.